Hello everyone. Today we are learning about functional requirement, planning and design of dairy cattle housing, focusing on cow and buffalo sheds. At first, we need to know about the functional requirements of dairy cattle housing, which includes these six important points. The thing is, we must know how much space an animal needs in either intensive, semi-intensive or extensive designs. An animal needs three types of space: static space, which allows the cattle to stand up and sit down or take rest; biological space, which allows them doing various movements like exercising or extending legs or body parts and other activities like feeding; and social space allows them for social mobility. For example, in loose housing system, similar animals tend to make groups. They need extra space for these too. If we have these three spaces judicially planned, then there will be less stress in animals. Next point is health and sanitation. We need to manage solid and liquid waste properly with good drainage facility and good slope within stalls, drain and other components. Cleanliness is essential and we need to follow farm biosecurity principles in the farm so that we can make a disease-free housing. There should be proper ventilation, good thermal insulation, windbreak trees can be planted around the farm. We need to build tools and facilities so that we can manage heat and cold stress both for cattle and workers. Safety should be top priority. While doing every operation, safety is a must. And every farm should have written safety rules and regulations, and these should be followed. Barns should be located in a well-drained area and with proper infrastructures like transportation, water supply, and electricity. Barns should be located where prevailing winds do not carry odors to the farmhouse. For orientation, generally for cold climate, maximum exposed portion of the housing should be east-west ridgeline. And for the hot climate, maximum exposed part or building ridgeline should be north to south. And sometimes it depends on the available land as well as other microclimatic features of the place, and this is how orientation is decided. Components of the barn should be placed judicially so that there will be minimum traveling distance while working and maximum efficiency is achieved. For example, we can place feed store component near the feeding area so that workers do not have to travel more distance. Other components should be at the nearest point of use. We need to make dairy cattle barn economical as far as practicable. Generally, there are three types of barn: intensive, which is also called confined, next is semi confined, and extensive system. They may have different names. Sometimes one type can be mixed with another type for achieving good farm efficiency. In general case, in the extensive system or open air barn, cows live in the field, they are fed and milked in the field. There can be some temporary components, but no permanent shed or housing. Grass is the main food source and sometimes bales are fed in the open field. Rotational grazing system is recommended in such type of system. It is not so common, but in some countries it is combined with sometimes intensive and sometimes with semi-intensive systems. Cows are kept in confined housing or loose housing inside the buildings for some months of the year during harsh weather, and grazing is done in the remaining months of the year in open field. There is complete freedom of movement in animals. This is best in terms of ecological point of view and animal stress, but for economy it depends on situations. Health issues can be concerning sometimes. Now we are talking about the second type, that is loose housing system. Cows or buffaloes are kept in either fully covered shed or partially covered shed. Animals are untied and there is freedom of movement. Space required is more than intensive farming. For example, it takes about 9 to 11 meters square space per cow if we consider static, biological and social space. There may be one feeding structure or more in some cases. If there is a milking parlor, cows are milked in batches, and in some farms automated milking system is practiced and many more technological advancement is done in this sector. For loose housing system, there is freedom of movement, less stress and simple construction process, hygienic milking system, less labor, and there is flexibility on herd expansion, but it has few disadvantages. This housing requires more floor space, higher risk of disease transmission, aggressive animals can injure others. As there is more freedom of movement, feed intake might be more and health monitoring, grouping, feeding might be more difficult to manage sometimes. Finally, looking at the third type of barn, which is intensive system, sometimes also called stanchion barn or confined housing. This is a commonly practiced system in the world. This may be practiced in combination with other type of housing: stanchion barn or confined housing or intensive housing. These all terms refer to the same thing here. This housing is divided into two basic types. They are single row system and double row system. If we have less number of animals, such as 12 to 16 or sometimes less than that. We need single row housing because it is manageable for less cattle in one row only. But if we have more animals, it is not economical to line up the cattle in a single row. We need double row system, and that double row system is also divided into two major practices. They are tail to tail system and head to head system. From the figure we can see that tail to tail housing means tails of the cows of the two rows facing each other. It's called face out type because their head is facing opposite to each other. And in head to head system, heads of cows of two rows face each other and there is feeding area in the middle section. This system is also called face-in system. We need to understand the advantage and disadvantage of both type of housing. These figures are just here for the illustration purposes only, not the exact design. We will show the exact designs and plans later on in this video. We will discuss the components in detail at that time. First, let's go to the advantage of tail-to-tail housing. Here, the milking and supervision of animals is easier. We can easily detect in case of any diseases to the cattle, and animals do not face each other so that there is lower risk of respiratory disease. There is better ventilation and manure removal as cleaning is easier here. Many people consider this as the best design for milk animals, but if we look at the disadvantage, there are feeding alleys on both sides, so it requires more labor work. Also, in the central gutter part gets less sunlight, so it might stay wet if proper cleaning is not done, and sometimes poor drainage might affect the cattle. On the other hand, in head-to-head system, both side feeding is easier through main central alley. Gutters are provided outside the building, so better drying takes place due to sunlight. This system can accommodate more animals in the same area in comparison to the tail-to-tail system, but milking and other supervision is difficult. There is higher risk of respiratory disease and there is less fresh air around the head region of the cows. Sometimes cleaning of gutters may require more labor and individual supervision is difficult. Though this head-to-head system is best suitable for non-milked cattle and small to medium farms, nowadays head-to-head system is also practiced with more efficient management of waste and good ventilation systems. It means we can say that both system can be successful if designed properly and managed well. This is the cross section of the width part of the tail-to-tail housing. Here we can see simple design which includes manure or milk handling alley, gutter, stalls, feeding alley, manger and ventilation systems. And this is the half section of the stanchion barn, which is half of the width cross section. Picture on the right is the design of manger for feeding the cattle. This is the top view or plan of face out type stanchion barn, which is designed for 72 cows. In this layout, cows are housed in individual stalls arranged in two rows divided by cross alley. Feed is stored in a feed store room and may be supplied from silage pits, hay storage areas, chopping rooms, or any other feed source located outside the main barn. Workers transport the feed from the feed store through the 1.2-meter wide feeding alley and distribute it to the animals through the mangers provided along both rows of stalls. In some modern systems, feedings can be partially or fully automated by maintaining proper manger height, clearance, and alley dimensions. However, adjacent to the animal stalls is the manure alley, which also serves as an operational alley for milking, animal inspection, supervision, cleaning, and other routine management activities. Solid manure is generally collected along this alley, while liquid waste is directed into the drainage channel provided beside it. In advanced facilities, automatic manure scrapers may also be used to clean the manure alley and drainage system. The collected waste is transferred to separate manure pits and liquid waste pits located outside the barn. Solid manure can be composted and utilized as organic fertilizer, while liquid waste can be stored, treated, or used for any other farm management operations to improve the labor efficiency and reduce the unnecessary walking distance. Cross alley is provided here. This alley allows the worker to move easily between the sections of the barn and access the feed store more efficiently, minimizing travel time and improving overall operational efficiency. Similarly, we can also make milk collection center in the cross alley, but we have to be careful of the contamination. We can add many components inside this barn so that every component is located to the nearest point of use and it is easier for farm management. The entire layout should be designed to ensure smooth feed distribution, effective waste management, animal comfort, and efficient labor management. Here we have taken the recommended capacity of the barn design as 72 adult cows The maximum barn length is approximately 40 meters or slightly more than that in case we have more land, while the overall width ranges from 10 to 11 meters and sometimes it varies slightly within these values. The floor part of the barn is constructed using cement concrete or sometimes first class brickwork to prevent slipping. The surface may be finished with the circular or hexagonal groups while the concrete is still green. The stall floor should have a slope of 2 to 3% towards the gutter or drain to ensure proper drainage of urine and waste water. And we need to have good solid waste management too. The pillars and walls provide structural support to the roof. Brick walls are generally constructed up to height of about 1.2 meters, while wire mesh is installed above the wall to improve ventilation. A continuous side wall ventilation can be maintained throughout the entire length of the barn for healthy environment, and sometimes ventilations can be varied according to the climatic conditions of the place. And for the better management, air conditioning system or sometimes fans or any other tools and implements can be incorporated to solve the stress problem in animals. The roof is usually constructed using steel trusses. Roofing materials may include galvanized iron sheets, clay tiles, or asbestos cement sheets, or any other better materials that are available in your place. Raised ventilation at the roof peak is recommended to facilitate the escape of hot air and improve air circulation inside the barn. The stall dimensions vary according to the species. For cows, the recommended stall size is 1.8 meters by 1.2 meters, equivalent to 6 feet by 4 feet, and for buffaloes, we need a bit more space. The stall size can be 2.1 meters by 1.5 meters, equivalent to 7 feet by 5 feet. In traditional Asian breeds, we can see that stall width and length in the table, and in case of major dairy breeds like Holstein, Jersey, Brown Swiss, and many more, we can see the stall dimensions here. And also the additional recommended clearance for comfort and management is given here. The dimensions can be varied based on the requirements and size of animals too. In tail to tail arrangement, animals face outward towards the manger, while their tails face the central manure alley. In the stalls, sometimes rubber mats or sand or any other bedding material is used so that it is comfortable for the animal. The manger, known as the feed trough, is usually made of reinforced cement concrete and is constructed as a continuous unit. The inner surface should be curved to facilitate easy cleaning, reduce feed waste, and also head movement of cattle aligns with the curved part so that feeding is easier for cattle. The recommended width of the manger is about 0.75 to 0.9 meters, and sometimes modern automated mangers are used so that it is easier to feed water as well as other foods for cattle. Gutters or drainage channels are located on both sides of the manure alley. These gutters are generally 45 centimeters wide and 15 centimeters deep with a slope of about 2% for efficient drainage, and sometimes automatic gutter cleaners are provided on the barn. As I mentioned about the alleys, several alleys are provided in the barn. Alleys means passage or a narrow pathway. The feed alley has a width of approximately 1.2 meters, while the central manure alley, which is also called the main working alley, is about 1.8 meters wide. Cross alleys are also provided at certain points to facilitate the movement of workers, animals, equipment, and feed, which improves overall management efficiency. Proper door dimensions are essential for smooth movement. In a single row barn, doors should be approximately 1.5 meters wide and 2 meters high. In a double row barn, door width may range from 2.4 meters to 2.7 meters, while the height remains about 2 meters. An isolation box should be provided for sick or injured animals. One isolation box is recommended for every 25 animals. A size of 4 meters by 3.5 meters is generally sufficient for this purpose. Separate calf housing is beneficial for the growth and management of young animals. The age of the young animals and respective space is given here. Next thing is a separate bull pen or bull housing should be provided. Loose housing is generally preferred for the breeding bulls. Each bull should have a covered area of 9 to 14 square meters and an open exercise area of 18.5 to 23.2 square meters. Feeding should always be done from outside the housing to ensure the safety of workers. These are the general construction details with the recommended dimensions. Dimensions can be changed sometimes according to the requirement. Any components can be adjusted, sometimes removed, and sometimes new component is added so that it increases the barn efficiency. So this is all about tail to tail housing, construction details, design and plan. Similarly, we can see the plan in a section of head to head barn. This is just an illustration that houses 8 cows. Components like feeding alley, manger, cow stalls with good slope, waste management, and many other systems is given here. Dimensions of some components are similar to that of tail to tail housing, so it's easier to understand here as well. Now we have come to the end of this topic. Today we covered functional requirements, general types of dairy cattle housing, extensive system, loose housing system, and intensive system, their advantages, disadvantages, and types of stanchion barn, construction details, plan and section of tail to tail housing, and a simple model of head to head housing. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comment section or through our social media. We will be back with such agricultural contents. Keep learning, keep growing. Thank you.